Hello YouTube, V here, and welcome back again at my channel. Today we're going to be doing a reaction video. As you already noticed and saw, I labeled the title of this video, Welcome to the Dystopia Miami Edition. Now, because make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, we are already in the dystopia, unfortunately. And I say this with sadness in my heart, right? Because if it was up to me, there would be no dystopia, right? Everybody would live a better life. Corporations wouldn't take advantage of the people, gurus and all these other scumbags wouldn't take advantage of people like you and me. But alas, we're here, right? And so it's only fair that I make a reaction video talking about, well, basically the dystopia that we're living in, Miami edition. And I chose Miami for a multitude of reasons, right? And the first one was that I saw this video already and I found it interesting. And shout out to the YouTuber Moon, right? Please go ahead and check him out. This is the only video I've watched of his, but I'm very interested in the other videos he's put out, and I'm eventually going to watch them. But that being said, I want to take a moment to talk about Miami, right? Because Miami is an interesting one, right? It's a red state, so you would think, because, and not to get political, but red or Republican states tend to be more conservative or traditional leaning, right? But as we're about to see from this video, right, Miami is anything but conservative, anything but traditional, and anything but old school, right? So, but anyway, let's go ahead and react to this video. If you guys like this content, please hit the like button. It helps a lot, especially with me starting off this channel. If you guys like my YouTube content and my reaction videos and my own commentary on what whether it's articles I'm reading to you or videos I'm watching with you guys or whatever, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It does help a lot. But without further ado, let's get started. This is called Miami's Everything Wrong with the Society by Moon again. So let's get that ball rolling.
Miami, the Magic City, is a modern American dystopia. It is the city which perfectly parodies America as a whole. It's where the country's billionaires have decided to live next door to each other. Jeff Bezos bought this $100 million home on Indian Creek Island, then bought his neighbor's mansion right next door. This ultra-exclusive billionaire bunker contains a 300-acre man-made island with its own private golf course that looks like something straight from Dubai. Across the street is Mark Zuckerberg's residence. Then you have Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump owning property there, along with Howard Schultz, Sergey Brin, and Larry Page. You might even bump into Peter Thiel down at the local Equinox, where you can just casually go past one of his many houses.
So already right off the bat, if your city or your state, especially your city, has a congregation of all these bunch of billionaires, corpos, right? Corporates living right next to each other, this is already a bad thing for your city, okay? This is already terrible because you have a culmination of all of some of the people responsible for a lot of the corporate greed and a lot of the corporate wrongdoings to the average person, right, all gathered together. So I can already expect that just that alone, okay, without getting into everything else that the video is going to talk about, that's already a massive red flag, right? The richest guys are there. You can already tell they're kind of running the show in a way. But anyway, let's continue, or at least that's in my opinion. I could be wrong, but I mean, corporations are practically running a lot of stuff in the world, so who knows? Let's go.
Indian Creek in Miami is called Billionaire Bunker.
Big businesses are moving here from all over the world. The financial center is packed with companies like Citadel, Nvidia, Uber, Microsoft, and Palantir.
Insane. And then let me go ahead and add this bit, right? It's funny, they moved, I believe they were in California before, right? But California, or as I like to call it, California, right? It's a lost cause at this point. I hate to say it, but, if you're still living in California, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, right? But anyway, yeah, so they used to be there, right? And they used to be established in California, from as far as I know. And then now they decided California was messed up enough and expensive enough. Let's go to Florida. Let's go mess them up too. Anyway, so it's just funny that now Miami is like the hub, or as they call it, the billionaire bunker, right? For all these billionaires and all these rich people and all this stuff, right? And then now this is basically what, LA or California 2.0, right? Except red. Somehow it's still red, conservative, quote unquote, right? But anyway,
which even recently moved its HQ to Miami. This is what the Miami Beach mayor has to say about the city's meteoric rise.
This is going to be the next finance hub of America.
Forget New York and LA, Miami has become the city everyone aspires to break into, spawning a whole new generation of OnlyFans girls.
What did I say? The next LA 2.0. I forgot to mention New York 2.0. I wouldn't be surprised, if I'm being honest, if the state goes blue, you know, in the near future. That's just my opinion. But anyway.
Crypto bros and anyone else clinging to the idea of who they want to be. On the surface, the city works. We visited, and the first version we found is the side you see on TikTok. Huge modern mansions, yachts and massive boats parked outside in the harbour. You could even see Indian Creek from a distance, but could never get near it. There are patrol boats everywhere and a fortified gated entrance. But we also found a completely different side to Miami that isn't in the reels and podcasts, but not in the obvious way like Las Vegas or Los Angeles. Miami sells itself as the real deal, with real money, real businesses, and a real vision of the future. And for a moment, you're convinced. The whole...
You know, it's going to be very interesting. I know GTA 6 is coming out this November, I believe, right? And it's going to be very interesting since it takes place in Florida. You already know there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be shown on there about Florida. Unfortunately, though, I'm not sold on GTA 6. I've said it on my previous video. Yes, I think GTA is overrated. And if I didn't say it, then I'm saying it now. I think GTA is hugely overrated. It's not that special of a game. But the only thing that seems to get my interest for this coming release is that it's set in Miami. But even then, I've heard rumors about them toning down on the satire and on the, you know, the, what they call it, politically incorrect things, right? And so it's not going to be, for all those of you that are expecting this to be as crude as the other GTAs, well, I mean, hold your expectations low, because it's not, right? But again, the only thing that seems interesting to me is the Florida setting, because these kind of things, right? Because basically Florida is kind of like everything wrong with society is kind of like in Miami, right? But anyway, let's continue.
The whole city is essentially a stage set arranged to look like a paradise. Drained, filled in, paved over, planted and replanted. All by a series of developers over the years, all of whom saw immense potential in a humid, mosquito-infested strip of swamp that nobody wanted to live in. The palm trees that line every boulevard aren't native to South Florida. The majestic royal palms were imported from Cuba. The coconut palms came from the South Pacific by way of the Caribbean. Even the sand on Miami Beach itself gets trucked in every few hours because the real beach keeps washing away. So this is a place built on appearances, so it's not really a surprise then that it's the global capital of an economy that runs on them.
Exactly. He nailed it, right? Miami, it's almost like, you know, Miami was intended, or Florida was intended to not really be habitable, but, you know, some rich people say, you know what, we can make something out of this. And then they planted these trees from like Cuba, and then they started like industrializing it and building it and all that stuff. And of course that comes with its consequences, which you're going to find out later in the video, right? Again, I already watched it, but I didn't capture my reaction. But anyway, so it's very interesting, like Moon said, right? Like how Miami's own foundation in history is very fitting of what it has become known for, right? Which is all appearances, flashy appearances, and, you know, the illusion of beauty and, you know, elegance and class, or whatever, you know, as like they like to call it. But in reality, it's nothing but, it's just a facade, right? Like inside there's nothing, right? It's empty. It's just, you know, it's all just superficial and all fake, right? But anyway,
this guy we met in Brickell, wearing camera sunglasses and making content by hitting on girls.
I just go around hitting on girls with them, bro. Pretty much it. The glasses, slick it, the board. Been doing it for a while now, like 2 years now. I was on TikTok one day scrolling and I saw this guy doing it. I'm like, yo, you know what? I could do that too. So I just bought him one day, bro. I remember I uploaded one video and then boom, my life changed forever.
He told us that Miami is his best market.
Best videos I've ever made was out here. Dude, I think I saw one girl, dude. Oh my God.
Out here?
Right there by that like little trailer. It was fake, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Dude, her ass was huge. I was like, yo, like, I walked up to her. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yo, like, your ass is humongous. And I think, yeah, dude, I think she won the award for the biggest ass.
That is hardly...
It's crazy for me to think, right, that we live in a world where you could literally wear some glasses with a camera, make a YouTube channel of you approaching women in Miami or wherever, LA. He's in Miami, I'm just speaking generally, and then just create a YouTube channel, make money because there's an audience for it. We live in crazy times, ladies and gentlemen, that, you know, not just him, YouTubers in general, people in Rumble, people just generally speaking, streamers, whatever, make a lot more than the doctor will make in their lifetimes, which is one of the things that I understand how it works. I understand the economy behind it. I understand, you know, they sell views, which is advertisements, which is, I get it. It's just not fair. And I know life is not fair, but it's just wild for me to think these creators, you know, could do the dumbest shit, right? It's just generally speaking, right? It could be streamers or whatever, recording the dumbest shit or the dumbest things, right? And they're making a lot of money from it. So just wild times to live in, and maybe some food for thought for you guys if you ever been kind of on the fence about starting your own thing and, I don't know, at least doing something, try to do something right for society or something. But anyway, continuing.
Really surprising because Miami is ground zero for the looks-maxing movement.
I said everything that's wrong with society, hence the title that Moon put on there. It's right here, right? Like this looks maxing idiots amongst them. But anyway,
It was why Louis Theroux spent most of his time there filming his latest documentary, Inside the Manosphere. When you're out in Miami at night, you notice another huge part of its identity: the clubs. Miami nightlife isn't really a scene so much as the gravitational center the rest of the city orbits around. Most of the people
you know, hold on. You know, these guys, not exactly these guys, but something like this guys, watch.
seen so much as the gravitational center the rest of the city
You know there's gonna be NPCs on GTA 6 doing this very thing. You just know it, man, and I'm here for it. If I end up buying the game, I know I'm gonna see some. Not necessarily this guy, but just some guys doing something so cringe like that.
orbits around. Most of the people you see at the airport end up at one of the club tables within the first weekend in town. We spoke to Sneeko, who resides in both Miami and New York, seeing how life really is in the center of Miami in Brickell, and why everyone seems to be moving here.
Well, right now I have a gun on me. I can't do that in New York. Like everywhere I go, I'm strapped. The taxes are better, and there's more. Everyone says that this is a new LA. It's just like there's a lot of motion here right now. You want to be where the action is if you're trying to grow.
But he also made the same observation everyone makes about Miami. You need a very deep wallet if you want to actively get involved in everything it has to offer.
Yep.
Most of the people in Brickell that live here are millionaires, or at least like close in terms of assets and in business. Yeah, I was in most of these people are millionaires.
Yeah, and again, LA 2.0, New York 2.0, and not only that, but you gotta understand thing. If it's true what he's saying, and most people living there, at least in Brickell, are millionaires, that becomes the new average. So if you're trying to be competitive, let's say you're thinking about going to Miami, right? And then let's say you're thinking about going to Miami, and then you're like, well, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and get the most beautiful women. I don't know if they're the most beautiful women there, but let's just say that's your mindset, and you want to move to Brickell. Well, good luck, because even if you're a millionaire, you don't stand out. Everybody and their mother's a millionaire there, so that $1 million tax bracket becomes the new average. So you have to be like upper millionaire somehow, or a billionaire or something, to really stand out.
And when we were kids, being a millionaire sounded insane, right? But now it's just like pretty much almost everybody that I talk to around here that you see has $1 million, and it's crazy how normal it's become.
Yeah.
I think 100K a month is was a benchmark.
When you talk to those running the nightlife, they tell you more about who's fueling the city's image. This is Nate, one of the top promoters in the city. He also moved to Miami from New York, and he's the go-to guy for crypto millionaires and hedge fund kids who spend 6 figures a night just to sit at the best table.
6 figures a night for a table. Let that sink in. 6 figures a night. That's 100,000 at least, right? For a table. You know what you can do with $100,000? You can invest that in the market, and with an average rate of return, I mean, you can go a long way. But dumping that on the table at a club, that's insane to me.
People trying to fake it until they make it by renting supercars, running up debts, and pushing their lives into dangerous territory. And it's the same culture that's turned Miami into the OnlyFans capital of the world, for both the creators and the subscribers.
It's insanity again. Like I said, it's supposed to be a red state, right? It's supposed to be conservative, quote unquote, at least on paper. But I mean, the center of degeneracy is Miami. It's insane to me, right? And then you have all these young women who are now selling themselves for $9.99 on OF, and they're ruining the chances to find a good man. And again, it's not just the fact that they're gonna have a past in the history, and they're already ruining their image for high value quality men that are gonna actually look for a wife or a mother of their children, amongst other things, other issues with dating sphere, right? But it's also the mindset, right? Like, imagine being spoiled to this degree, and you the brain rot for such a young age, right? And the level of narcissism, the level of entitlement, the level of just enshittification, right? Of them and society, really, because they not only ruin themselves, but they're ruining those who are watching them, right? The weak man, the pathetic fools, right? And it's just an issue that's just gonna get worse and worse, especially if they do eventually have children. I mean, imagine growing up, little Billy being made fun of because his mother was on OF. But anyway, yeah, it's just a mess, dude.
You see, Miami has more registered OnlyFans creators per capita than any other large American city, with roughly 1,110 accounts per 100,000 residents.
Hey, the crazy thing is that if you go, I should pull this up, right? But the average OnlyFans, the average OF, woman, right, makes what, like $200 a month? $200 a month to show your body out there to desperate weak men, which are, a lot of them are weirdos, unfortunately, too. But that's the average, by the way. The top earners, just like with any industry, the top 1%, the top millionaires, they're like in the top 1%, right? Man.
This was supposed to be the most luxurious apartment complex ever built.
Watch this. This is where things really get interesting, right?
A 66.
And it ties back to what I said earlier about how it's almost like Miami or Florida. It's almost like things were not really meant to be built there, right? I keep doing that, my bad, guys.
Residences. Yes, that's an apartment block branded by the British luxury car maker. It's a billion-dollar project and the tallest all-residential tower on the East Coast. It was sold as coming with a private marina, a helipad, exclusive beach club access, the full works for Miami's new money class. The top penthouse alone sold for $59 million.
Wow.
By the time the building opened in 2024, it was already 99% pre-sold. And of course,
so it's almost like pre-orders, right? Like pre-ordering something, like putting down payment. It kind of reminds me of video games when you pre-order the game and you don't really know how it's going to run. But anyway.
The promotional materials looked spectacular. But not long down the line, it became a gluttonous monument to Miami's fakeness. The issues with it are nearly endless. The helipad was never built. The beach club access hasn't come to fruition. The building, according to a lawsuit, is literally falling apart. Concrete is spalling off of the balconies and dropping onto the streets below. Then there's the steel reinforcement itself, and even the absolute basics like functioning elevators.
Now at 6, developers of downtown Miami's Aston Martin residences face their second lawsuit in 4 months. Residents say they see concrete balconies crumbling, their seawall corroding, and claim it will cost millions to fix it. They blame the builder.
Basically, it's just turned out to be terrible, which is even more painful if you invested millions into the building. And this isn't just a case of negligence, it's all allegedly wrapped up in a sophisticated scam, or what the lawsuit calls an immense shell game, using a network of companies to siphon millions out of the building's finances. This is what happens when something's image falls completely out of sync with the substance underneath it. This has happened with almost every object that surrounds us. A banana isn't a banana, not really, it's just a copy of a banana that you've never even seen, felt, or understood at all. Today, a photograph is rarely by definition a photograph, but rather a manipulated image that exists in near infinite degrees of authenticity. If you live somewhere like Miami, your life doesn't resemble the life of any of your ancestors. The substance and purpose behind it were copied into oblivion and literally don't exist anymore. Miami.
Now, a few points I want to touch upon there. The whole thing with the building, it's scary. Let's say you're walking down the street and you mind your own business, and a huge chunk of concrete lands on your head and you're done, right? It's just wild. And to me, the scary thing is obviously the whole scam and the whole money and the whole, corruption is already terrible enough, right? And the fact is that this huge building, right, and I'm sure the others, right, they're built such poor quality that to me, it's not too far-fetched that they might at some point, collapse. I mean, they're already, again, pieces of concrete, my fault. I could be wrong. This is my opinion. But what if these poorly built buildings just collapsed? Oh man, yeah. So this is the Dystopia. And again, this is a pretty long video, guys. Again, I recommend you guys go check out Moon. It's a really good video overall. You guys should watch it, but I don't want to make this video too long. Essentially, this is a dystopia. Welcome to Dystopia, right? And then you might ask, well, V, how can I fight back against this? What can I do about this or stuff like that? Well, I mean, really, the best advice I can give you, because in my videos, I like to react to these things, but also give you my thoughts and also give you my sort of solutions or strategies to navigate the world, right? The matter of fact is, this is Miami. However, in the future, rest assured, major cities will follow, because that's just what they do, right? They copy everybody else. They just want to squeeze money and they want to make themselves look pretty and look glorious and majestic at the expense of actually being devoid of substance inside, right? So this is going to come to large cities that are not already here. So what can you do, right? Here's my solutions. I would say number one, don't live in the city. Live in the rural areas away from the city. The farther away you're from the city, the better. Trust me, because the less you have to deal with traffic, the less you have to deal with basically corporations, at least from the, the hub of corporations, like, headquarters and all that stuff, right? The less you have to deal with, all the things that come with urban environments, right? So move away from cities, move in rural areas, farms, whatever. Or it doesn't have to be anything extreme, right? Just away from the city. Like, I don't know, maybe live somewhere that's just not by the heart of the city, right? Like smaller towns or something. I think that's one way to go about it. Number two, obviously avoid the higher cost of living areas. Avoid Miami, Florida. Avoid Los Angeles, California. Avoid New York, right? California 2.0. Maybe 1.0, whatever. Yeah, avoid these places. Don't live in those places. You don't need to do that, right? And, certainly don't move to these places, especially Miami, if you're looking to eventually get married, have kids and stuff like that, because you're going to find nothing but superficial things. Again, if GTA was real life, which I think is really actually the other way around, like real life, GTA is just copy real life instead of real life copying GTA. But anyway, if you guys want to know what Miami's like, it's essentially GTA. So, and no, this is not a advertisement for GTA. Like I said, probably not going to be playing it, and I think there's a lot wrong with it. I'm not a GTA guy, but regardless, stay the hell away from it, and don't care about appearances. Don't care about, all the superficial things, because at the end of the day, all this is it's just a flame that runs bright and it just fizzles out really quickly. So yeah. Anyway, so this is today's video. I know it's kind of long, but if you guys enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Like I said, it helps the channel a lot. If you guys like the content, my reaction videos, hit the subscribe button. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Peace.